Hello and welcome to our 8th episode in the Brand Bewitchery series as I take you through each chapter of my guidebook to help you craft and tell compelling stories that sell. I'm Park Howell, host of the Business of Story, and I'm so glad you're with us today because we are going to explore Step 8 in the proven story cycle system story strategy process that has grown brands by as much as 600%. Now, you don't have to be a brander, a brand manager. You can be a business leader, a sales professional, a content creator. You are going to benefit from Brand Bewitchery because I walk you through our 3 proven storytelling frameworks, from the and, but, therefore, agile narrative framework to the 5 primal elements of a short story for big impact to, of course, the 10-step story cycle system. Now, on today's episode, we call this chapter Victory, as I show you how to design in and celebrate small victories with your customers along their journey of brand awareness to brand adoption through brand appreciation. This is important because bringing these success milestones to the attention of your customer helps them experience wins, propelling their story with you forward. So what do you say? Let's get after it. Chapter 8, Victory. How to celebrate wins on the customer journey from brand awareness to appreciation. Quote, "You can have everything in life you want if you just help enough people get what they want." End quote. Zig Ziglar. You're building to something big. When you craft your brand narrative, 2 important forces are summoned. First, you create meaning for your offering, which is critical to customer engagement. Otherwise, you remain mired as a meaningless commodity in our world of abundant choices. You can't afford to be just another number. But something else magical happens when you create meaning for your fellow Homo sapiens. They begin to care. And when you unwaveringly deliver on the promises you make in your brand storytelling, they turn caring into love. You begin to rise above commoditization in step 1 of the story cycle system when you declared your number 1 position in the marketplace, what you do differently and more distinctively than your competition. This is a crucial first step in brand awareness. In step 2, you prioritize your top 3 audiences, placing them at the center of your brand story. Isn't that where everyone wants to be, the focus of the story? Then you explored what's at stake for your audiences in step 3, what they wish for in their lives and what they want to buy to fulfill their needs. You began to humanize your brand position by articulating your unique value proposition in step 4. This is important because you want to clarify why your offering is the most timely, urgent, and relevant option for your audiences, especially in their time of need. Your UVP is what triggers their will to act. In step 5, you embrace the obstacles in your respective journeys. The goal, as you now know, is the jujitsu move of turning those antagonistic forces into narrative energy to propel your customer engagement forward. You continue to humanize your brand as your customer's mentor in step 6. You determine the foundations of its character through your 9 descriptors. Then you arrived at your emotional promise, intrinsic gift, and archetypal personality. We meaning-making machines love to see how your brand persona meshes with ours. In the previous chapter, step 7 of the journey, you began finding true stories based off your 9 descriptors to demonstrate your brand in action, how it walks the talk, so to speak. These stories become powerful anecdotes that connect your world with your customer's world to build brand adoption. Here in Step 8, you will learn the 3 pivotal customer engagement scenes of brand awareness, adoption, and appreciation, and which stories to tell to whom, when, and where in their journey with you. This is important because you want to anticipate the little victories your customers will experience along the way so you can celebrate them with them. In the hero's journey, this is where Campbell describes the road heroes take back home to their ordinary world as they return with the boon. They've grown through experience and have acquired new wisdom about themselves and the world around them. Think about Maslow's hierarchy of needs. This is when you are moving your audience up from esteem into self-actualization. I know that may sound a little grandiose, but consider the little successes in your life that have given you a bigger appreciation for who you are and what you stand for. For instance, how have the small successes on your journey through the previous 7 steps of the story cycle system created clarity and excitement in you about the prospects of your brand? You're no longer just a provider of a product or service. It has become self-evident that you make powerful things happen in the lives of your employees, customers, and the communities you serve. Your brand is becoming self-actualized. How to create small success scenes for big impact. Little wins along your road of trials are critical because they demonstrate to your customers that their relationship with you is progressing. But we're often so focused on the big triumphs that we overlook the small successes that bind people to our brand. In this chapter, we help you map your success moments that advance your story and lead to customer engagement and loyalty with your audiences. Think of these moments as success scenes. For instance, when I drove up to the pickup window at Delight Healthy on the Go in Phoenix, a healthy fast food restaurant, which is not an oxymoron actually, the dude in the window surprised me. He asked if I wanted a dog treat for my passenger Hazel, our golden doodle. That represented a simple success scene for me. I now go to Delight often for my man salad. That's right, man salad. And I'm sharing their story, which you'll notice has become my story. Brand awareness, adoption, and appreciation served up in a drive-thru. Another example is when I arrived in Chicago the night before a day-long Business of Story masterclass for DeMeo Schneider and Associates, a large financial firm. I had packed my power blue suit, but forgot my shoes in Phoenix. It was 7 p.m. when I realized my gaffe, so I hustled down to Michigan Avenue to find a shoe store before closing. Brand awareness came as I happened upon the Johnston & Murphy shoe store in Water Tower Place, the first time I've ever set foot in one of their stores. The dapper salesman actually came across the room and greeted me with a smile and a handshake. His was a rare, welcoming gesture in a hurried world that made for a nice moment. I shared my predicament. He sized me up and suggested a conservative pair of wingtips. But what about those? I pointed to a dashing pair of Stacy Adams Dickinson navy suede cap-toe Oxfords. Really? Those are sweet, he said, trying to hide his surprise at my choice. They are sweet. Look them up. I bought the shoes, brand adoption. The next day, I was happy to get a couple of compliments on my new blue suede shoes, which helped soothe the blister brewing on my right heel. 6 months later, remembering my great experience at Johnston & Murphy, I bought another pair of black dress shoes at their store in Scottsdale Fashion Square. In the window were the Oxfords I had purchased in Chicago, marked down 40%. I casually mentioned my story to the sales lady in the busy store. Then she voluntarily took 40% off my new shoes. Obviously, Johnston & Murphy empowers their people to make such a decision on the spot. I was impressed, so I shared my experience on my podcast. Their exceptional customer service led me to brand appreciation for Johnston & Murphy. I made their story my story. And who do you think I'm going to buy my next pair of snazzy shoes from? Do you see how these success scenes weave together for a shareable brand narrative? From the welcoming gent in Chicago, brand awareness, to the purchasing the stylish Navy Oxfords, brand adoption, to the empowered saleswoman in Scottsdale who provided me the discount based solely on my word. My different interactions with Johnston & Murphy have taken me on a journey that has culminated with me sharing my story with the people in my world. Brand appreciation, a victory for both me and them. Think like a screenwriter. Script your small success scenes and connect them together to create the narrative arc of your customer engagement story. These success scenes anchor the three acts of the customer journey in the story cycle system. Act 1, brand awareness. Act 2, brand adoption. Act 3, brand appreciation. Andre Martin Hobbs uses success scenes for exceptional customer engagement in his Quebec-based used car company, Prate Auto Partes, which is French for Ready, Car, Go. By first clarifying their brand story using the story cycle system and then mapping their success scenes, they doubled their staff and tripled their size in 2 years, with significant month-over-month sales growth from the previous year. Let's examine how they did it. Scenes sell. Andre's brand story journey began when he introduced himself to me in the crowded corridor of the San Diego Convention Center. I just finished my first appearance at Social Media Marketing World, producing a 90-minute Business of Story workshop that kicked off the 2016 conference. Essentially, my presentation was Act 1 of brand awareness for Andre and the Business of Story. Park, I'm interested in working with you to help us devise our brand story, Andre said to me in his Quebecois accent. Cool. Where are you from and what is your business? I asked. Well, I'm from Quebec and we sell used cars to financially challenged Canadians. Great, I thought. Clunkers sold to desperate people usually add up to someone getting run over, namely the buyer. I handed Andre my card. Thanks, I'll follow up in a couple of weeks, he said. I was kind of hoping he wouldn't, actually. Although Andre came off as a solid guy, I was skeptical about what I considered his potentially smarmy business model. Did I really want to get involved in an enterprise that didn't support my reason for being, of helping purpose-driven brands clarify their stories to amplify their impact and simplify their lives? But it turned out I was ignorant, which, by the way, is spelled the same way in French, I learned. I had no clue what he was up to. My ego nearly detoured an amazing brand story because I had made up a fictitious story in my head about Andre and his company by jumping to an erroneous conclusion. I hate it when that happens. Andre called and I began to understand and appreciate the incredible impact he and his company were having on their customers. They were selling used cars in great condition to subprime car buyers for a bigger mission, to help their customers repair their credit. He explained that his customers were good people who had experienced bad times. They'd gotten T-boned by the global recession, or by a job loss or costly medical treatments, or maybe by a devastating divorce. Many of the buyers lacked the fiscal sophistication and wherewithal to weather their financial blows. Others simply collided with bad luck. We want to help them get back on their feet by finding a vehicle they can afford and use to restore their credit, Andre explained. That's a compelling purpose I hadn't anticipated coming from an unlikely source like a used car dealership. At the heart of their brand story was an amazing market differentiator in the traffic-snarled car sales business. Andre walked me through the customer journey and the successes they experienced along the way. People show up because they've been taking the bus for a few years. They've saved a little money and they want the freedom of having their own car again, he said. They aren't even thinking about their long-term finances when they walk in. They just want the self-respect an auto represents now. What's at stake for the car buyers is that they wish to feel the freedom of driving. They want a car to provide that freedom. And many are willing to risk default again for the luxury of owning their own car. Unbeknownst to Andre's car buyers, they come in for a ride but leave with a personal financial plan. Unlike predatory used car salesmen who burden credit risk buyers with high interest rate loans, Prate Auto Partes educates their customers in a 3-hour financial planning session. They won't sell a car to a customer until that person has a clear understanding of their budget and determines which car they can actually afford. The goal is to make their monthly payments for 2 years, which is the benchmark to repair your credit in Canada. Their interest payments are still high, the unavoidable reality of being a subprime buyer, but the overall price is determined by what they can afford. No predatory BS. Remember arriving at your unique value proposition in Chapter 4? When we crafted Pret Auto Partes UVP, it practically wrote itself. Pret Auto Partes is your vehicle to financial freedom. The mark of an authentic value proposition is not just how it amplifies your differentiation in the market, but how it clarifies and simplifies your life with your operations. Andre doesn't hire car salesmen. Pret Auto Partes attracts employees who are interested in helping people fix their credit. The cars they sell are simply the vehicle for their greater purpose. In the next chapter, we'll cover your purpose statement, which cements the self-actualization of your brand. Remember, your brand story is not about what you make or offer, in Andre's case, the purchase of a used car, but what you make happen in the lives of the people you serve. For Andre's customers, it's financial freedom. Pret Auto Partes operates at the intersection of freedom and peace of mind. The freedom created by the convenience of owning your own car and the peace of mind that comes from knowing that you can not only afford it, but that it will help you repair your credit. This is how we landed on the brand gift covered in Chapter 6. In their case, it is transporting. Transporting customers to a better place, both physically and philosophically. Celebrating success milestones. Now that the brand story elements became clear, we explored how Pret Auto Partes celebrates the victories, large and small, in their customers' journeys. In the brand awareness stage, or Act 1 of our movie, customers arrive at Pret Auto Partes to buy a car. But what they get first is a financial plan. Some customers are startled by this approach and quickly depart. This is actually good for Andre and his team because they are only interested in helping people who want to help themselves out of their financial challenges. These are also the same car buyers who will pay their monthly lease, which is good for everyone. See how clarifying their brand story with car buyers who want the help simplifies Pret Auto Partes' operations? It's a deadbeat filter. The first big win for customers is that they get the peace of mind of understanding their financial position and how to budget for their car accordingly. They replace the worry of the unknown with the courage that comes with taking ownership of their finances. Even if they don't buy a car from Pret Auto Partes, at least they are educated about how to get out of their financial predicament. What can you offer your audiences when they first become aware of your brand that will represent a win for them? Is it a free tool, knowledge, insight, or a giveaway that they'll find instantly valuable? The next act, Act 2 of brand adoption, happens at Pret Auto Partes when both the buyer and the company representative agree that a car and its monthly payments make sense, given the customer's finances. The customer doesn't always get to buy the car they want due to cost, but they do get a car they can afford. As I mentioned earlier, Pret Auto Partes doesn't hire car salesmen who will sell any sucker anything. They employ people motivated to help people improve their finances. Customers win with that rush of freedom they feel when they pull off the lot in their car. Plus, they enjoy the confidence of having an advocate on their side who will help them stay on their road to financial freedom. And finally, we come to Act 3, brand appreciation. This happens when customers share their Pret Auto Partes story with others. You know this phenomenon as word-of-mouth marketing, or WOM. I call WOM a phenomenon because it is the most valuable, least expensive, influential marketing tool you can use. That's why it's so important to help your customers make your brand story their story through the wins they talk about with their family and friends. It's easy to visualize a happy Pret Auto Partes customer driving off the lot in their new car, eager to show off their purchase to the important people in their life, people who themselves may be ideal customers for Andre and his team. Andre has extended what he learned by clarifying the Pret Auto Partes brand story with the story cycle system to each of his representatives. He is helping them build their influence by sharing their own unique personal brand stories on LinkedIn and Facebook to make them even more confident advisors to their customers and effective extensions of his brand. That's the beautiful thing about stories. They scale. The success scenes Andre and his team have scripted into their customer journey at Pret Auto Partes incorporate little victories all along the way, including Act 1 of brand awareness, setting the stage with a welcoming salesperson more interested in helping than selling, a surprisingly refreshing initial customer engagement in the cutthroat used car business. Acknowledging the customer's excitement about the freedom that comes with car ownership. This is usually a step forward in the buyer's personal journey, or finally having the ability to buy a car again and their growing self-respect it represents. Taking an important detour from buying an automobile to pinpointing a car they can actually afford. Although they may not have expected it, buyers are appreciative of the financial advice they receive. Act 2, brand adoption. Growing the customer's understanding of their personal financial situation through their 3-hour free planning session with the aim of repairing their credit in 2 years so they can purchase the car they want. Working together to find the right car that the customer will be proud to drive, and following up after the purchase to see how the financial plan is working for them. Act 3, brand appreciation. Brand appreciation begins by taking care of the potential buyers their now proud customers happily refer to Pret Auto Partes. Everyone loves to be the person who refers a friend or a family member to a great experience. Being there for the customer in 2 years when they are ready to upgrade their vehicle. These are Pret Auto Partes' high-level customer engagement victories. Each of these small interactions supports their brand story elements. They instill the brand's promise of peace of mind while demonstrating its gift of transporting the customer to another world of financial understanding and physical freedom. Themed success scenes are experienced through the brand personality archetype of the caregiver. And of course, these moments support their UVP and brand promise of providing their customers with a vehicle to financial freedom. Andre has many more small success scenes that he and his team celebrate with their buyers along the way to building customer engagement. The point is, never discount the power of the moment and the momentum it can create for your brand. In the first 3 years living into this new brand story, Pret Auto Partes has quadrupled its growth and is building its 4th dealership. Customers travel as far as 8 hours to buy one of their cars with the promise of repairing their credit. We don't even have to sell them, Andre told me. Our customers arrive convinced we have a car and a plan for them, and we do. You can review Pret Auto Partes' brand story elements at the end of this chapter. Use their brand narrative as yet another example to help you craft your own purpose-driven story. How victory is at hand with the business of story. As illustrated above with Pret Auto Partes, it's important to map the ways you plan to activate and celebrate your small customer engagement victories. For instance, here are the 3 gifts we at the Business of Story provide along the journey of brand awareness, adoption, and appreciation. Act 1, brand awareness. Invaluable free advice. Act 2, brand adoption. Story eurekas. Act 3, brand appreciation. Story scaling. Brand awareness for the Business of Story primarily happens in 3 ways. Online with our podcast, blog, and website, in person during speaking engagements, and through referrals. Now that this book is published, I can add to the list a 4th experience where brand awareness can happen. In each interaction, we offer as much invaluable free advice as possible. You can download free ebooks and storytelling tools. You can listen to and learn from the more than 300 story artists we featured on our weekly Business of Story podcast, which is among the top 10% of downloaded podcasts in the world. You can reference the extensive library of books, audios, and videos I have collected, all of which profoundly influenced my growth as a storyteller. At the Business of Story, our goal is to reignite within you the one true superpower we all possess: storytelling, to nudge the world in any direction you choose. So we give away our knowledge and tools to help you develop your storytelling muscles from the very moment you begin interacting with us. The responses we receive from people letting us know how our frameworks have helped them excel through the stories they tell is rewarding to us. They tell their stories through email or social media, sharing their small victories, and telling us how they are crafting their brand stories using our resources. That's a win. Figure 8.1 on the next page shows an example of a small victory is captured in our private Facebook group. Eric Walea was trying to use the and, but, and therefore narrative framework to clarify his brand story. He was wrestling with it, so he shared his ABT with me. I could see where he was headed with his story, but he was having a hard time clarifying his message. So I helped him with this ABT, and we both won in the transaction. Here's the note he sent me from Eric. Took a stab at applying A, B, and T method. Feels a bit like I'm using circular logic. There are literally millions of people, patients and non-patients alike, who are ashamed of or unhappy with their smile and not able to find an easy, painless, and affordable way to regain the life-changing confidence to smile. But Smile Transition is easy, painless, and affordable. It fits right over your own teeth and is thin and strong with the look of natural teeth. Even if you have stains, chips, gaps, or missing teeth, you can eat and drink with your Smile Transitions. It's easy to care for and can be a temporary or long-term provisional cosmetic solution. Therefore, Smile Transitions is an excellent treatment adoption for patients who are hesitant to commit to more involved restorative treatments. Smile Transitions offers these patients the experience of living with better function and superior aesthetics. So I wrote back, nothing lights up a room like a beautiful smile, and millions of people wish they could enhance their teeth, but they think it's difficult, painful, and expensive. Therefore, Smile Transitions is the fastest, most affordable way to restore your pearly whites and brighten your confidence. Eric writes back, wow, thank you. Now I get it. And I responded, finding your theme is often like pulling teeth, painful and messy, but I found the ABT to be the Smile Transitions of branding. Therefore, smiley face icon, story on. I have never met Eric, nor is he a client, so I would place this conversation in the brand awareness act of the customer journey. By joining our private Facebook group, Eric is bordering on brand adoption. He may never buy anything from us, but that's okay. By helping him get what he wants and needs, we grow our influence as we demonstrate how our proven narrative frameworks work in real time. We help a fellow professional in the process. His success moment is another convincing scene in our story. Plus, his brief story unfolded before all the members of our Facebook group so they could learn too. It's a perfect example of the scalability of story. And that's a win-win in our book. In my speaking engagements, the room is typically filled with people who are just becoming aware of me and the business of story. I provide my keynote participants with as much value as possible by teaching them the applied science and helping them experience the bewitchery of storytelling. Each attendee works on their story using an and, but, and therefore worksheet. They learn and apply the 5 primal elements of story, plus they walk through the 10-step story cycle system in the What's Your Story field guide we provide for free. By the end, they will understand why storytelling is more important now than ever if you want your brand to rise above the noise of the attention economy. They will appreciate how stories work in their lives to connect with people and move them to action. And they will have at least outlined their own story and have 3 proven narrative frameworks they can use to build their storytelling muscles. A win, win, win. Brand adoption. Giving away our invaluable free advice leads to what we call story eurekas. These are those energizing aha moments that lead to brand adoption, where you experience even more energizing storytelling eurekas. I love the term eureka. It comes from the Greek word heureka, meaning I found it. It is an interjection used to celebrate a discovery or invention, an exclamation attributed to ancient Greek mathematician and inventor Archimedes. Eureka is closely related to heuristic, which refers to experience-based techniques for problem solving, learning, and discovery. For me, this definition of eureka concisely describes the power of story. Storytelling is an experience-based technique that shares anecdotes about real-world events to advance problem solving, learning, and discovery. When our audiences experience these story eurekas through their exposure to the business of story narrative frameworks, they become eager to learn how to create these same reactions in their own audiences, so they adopt our storytelling practices. Brand adoption happens when a customer purchases a business of story product or service. This includes investing in the DIY brand story strategy workbook, hiring us to help craft their brand story, or immersing their marketing, sales, and leadership teams in a business of story mastery course or 8-week story mastery program. In each case, we design in success scenes that progress the customer through the brand story creation process, creating more and more story eurekas along the way. These include the inspiring story appetizers we send before every session to familiarize them with the content and spark their imagination. Each engagement is tailored to their needs, and we share specific added value resources to help them grow as brand and business storytellers. Customers experience success in each step of the story cycle system as their brand story becomes increasingly clear. With clarity comes simplicity and excitement about where the brand is headed. This clarity and focus are also experienced by participants in the Masterclass and Story Mastery programs. We celebrate our customers' successes as they share their stories with their cohorts and colleagues, learning from one another and growing as storytellers. To mark their achievements, brands define their story elements, as demonstrated by the Pret-a-Porter's brand story elements presented at the end of this chapter. Course participants leave with newfound communication skills to help them connect with audiences on a primal level and move them to action. Brand appreciation. How do you make your story their story? You do so by helping them get what they want out of life, which inspires them to eagerly share their experience with others. For the business of story, this means helping people become crystal clear about who they are, what their brand stands for, and where they are headed. We help them amplify their impact in the market by differentiating their offering from their competitors and making it immediately relevant to their customers. And we help them simplify their lives. When you dial in your story, you know what to say yes to and, more important, how and when to say no. If the request does not honor your vision and service your mission, it's not meant to be in your journey. Then we ask our customers to share their new narrative wisdom with the world through their stories. Each tale is a moment of success that both models the storytelling techniques they've learned and demonstrates the power of the process. In fact, this book is a story of stories about those who have learned the applied science and bewitchery of storytelling through the business of story. Each anecdote is about a moment when everything changed for them. As I mentioned up top, stories are about the scenes that transform us. So look for those moments of success your customers experience. Capture them, celebrate them, then string those scenes together and watch your brand narrative come to life. In April 2018, I performed my first TEDx talk in Gilbert, Arizona. My talk was for the young students and professionals in the audience, the 20-somethings, to help them align with their calling. So I asked them to stop looking for their story and start finding their scenes. These are the moments we all experience that have shaped who we are today. Find your scenes and your story will find you, I encouraged. Or another way to think about it is that stories are made of scenes, but it is the scenes that make the story. The script for my TED Talk itself follows the story cycle system. To see how you can use the story cycle system to guide your long-form communications and presentations, I've included my TEDx script in Appendix 1 of this book. I'm confident you'll find more story eurekas in the presentation to help you scale your storytelling. Now it's your turn. Map the success moments on your customer journey for each of your audiences. Where do you celebrate little victories with them during the 3 phases of brand awareness to adoption through appreciation? Think of these moments as scenes in your customer journey. How do you show up in their scenes to help them celebrate their success? Final thoughts. If we break the story cycle system down into the 3-act structure of story, then you have just come through Act 2 and are entering the final act. You began Act 1 by setting the stage for your brand story when you defined your number 1 position in the market. You introduced your 3 audiences as the main characters at the heart of your story. You determined what's at stake for them, their wishes and wants, so that you can make your story compelling. Then you broke into Act 2 in Chapter 4 by describing the disruption in the market your brand is responding to, the problem you solve in your customers' lives. You boldly crafted your unique value proposition to declare how you are the most timely and relevant offering to help your audiences get what they wish for and want. But then the antagonistic forces showed up. Instead of letting these obstacles thwart your progress, you strategized on how you will co-opt their energy to propel your brand and its story forward in the hearts and minds of your customers. Then you put a face on your offering when, in Chapter 6, you revealed your brand's emotional promise, intrinsic gift, and unique personality. You mapped how you and your brand, as your audience's mentor, will guide them on the journey of customer engagement, experiencing its highs and its lows. Act 2 wraps up with acknowledging the victories your customers achieve and how you celebrate with them along the way. Now it's time for Act 3 of the story cycle system. As with every story, this is when you clearly reveal the moral of your story. Hollywood calls this the promise of the premise. What is the universal truth underscored in your story? In branding, this is when you define your brand's ultimate purpose, why you exist beyond the basal need of making money. Your brand purpose is the ultimate expression of the self-actualization of your offering and how it lifts the people you serve. Additional resources. Explore ways to express your brand's unique personality with the additional resources at businessofstory.com/victory. Read Volume 8 of the Business of Story online magazine. Victory is at hand. Celebrate success with your customers. Listen to Barry Kirk on how to build customer loyalty through a shared brand narrative. Watch my quick explanation video on how to map your customer journey at bit.ly/storycycle-victory. Story on activity. Create success moments at home. Design 3 things you can do in the next 2 days for the one you love. Activate those scenes and write down their outcomes. Then watch a personal story about an important relationship grow. And as promised, Prate Auto Partes brand story elements. Brand position. Pret Auto Partes is the number 1 resource for subprime car buyers to purchase a vehicle and begin repairing their credit. Unique value proposition. Pret Auto Partes is your vehicle to financial freedom. The brand promise, peace of mind. The brand gift, transportation. Brand personality, the caregiver with a secondary archetype of the hero. Brand descriptors, trustworthy, insightful, integrity, respect, educational, honesty, authentic, friendliness, humor. Brand purpose, Pret Auto Partes exists to get people back on the road to financial freedom. Brand statement, for subprime car buyers who want the independence and pride of owning a like-new car, Pret Auto Partes provides the vehicle to repair their credit through honest rates and a fiscal education program that increases the health of their purchase, transporting the buyer to greater peace of mind and self-esteem on their road to financial freedom. Theme, your vehicle to financial freedom. If you are planning your annual sales retreat, revenue kickoff event, or sales enablement training, then please consider me as your trainer or keynote speaker. I work with iconic brands in lots of industries, including retail, like the Home Depot internal sales team, Walmart Canada's Learning and Development Group, and Lixil's sales and marketing team. Tech is another big industry I coach our storytelling techniques in, including the likes of Dell, Intel, Canada's Ace Tech Conference, and Checker background check platform out of San Francisco. Healthcare also relies on business of story training for its administrators, doctors, and medical device manufacturers, including, Banner Health, Medela, Motif, and the Mayo Clinic. Work with associations include the National Association of Music Merchants International Conference, the National Hop Growers Association, and Professionals for Association Revenue. And of course, I work with small businesses too, especially with my twice-yearly training for the Better Business Bureau Southwest executives and its membership. I know I can help you and your people excel through the stories you tell, especially if you are any of the following. Are you a driven business leader who must have your messages land right the first time, every time, to motivate and move your people to action? Are you an effective learning and development professional who wants to elevate the communication skills of your people by creating a common storytelling language throughout your enterprise? Maybe you're an ambitious middle manager who wants to accelerate success by connecting more deeply with your colleagues and your customers. Perhaps you're a top sales executive who needs greater focus in your presentations to convince and convert prospects quickly. Are you a creative marketing professional who wants to hack through the noise and hook the hearts of your audiences? Maybe you're a dynamic sales enablement director who must bridge the gap between marketing hyperbole and the effective stories your sales team actually need to tell. Are you gigging as an influential content marketer who hopes to 10x your online engagement? Maybe a caring human resource director who wants to advance your diversity, equity, and inclusion initiatives by sharing your people's stories. Perhaps you're an inspiring business coach or consultant who wants to make a bigger impact with your clients. A captivating speaker who must win over an audience with every single keynote. Maybe you find yourself as an eager job seeker who requires a more compelling cover letter and impactful interview techniques. Perhaps you're an achieving college student who seeks higher grades on your papers while preparing for your job search communications. Finally, you might just be a promising high schooler or the parent of one who wished you had learned about the ABT in the third grade, like me, because your term papers are now earning A's every time. If you are any of these or all of these, please reach out to me at park@businessastory.com or come on through our contact page at businessastory.com. I would love to help you and your people excel through the stories you tell. Hey, thanks so much for being here with us today. And please share this episode and series with anyone you know who will benefit by becoming a more confident, persuasive, and influential communicator. Our theme music is composed by the amazing Darius Holbert, marketing by Marissa Hill, and of course the show is edited by Caden Howell. If I can help you and your team excel through the stories you tell, hit our contact page at businessastory.com for information on our in-person, virtual, and hybrid mastery courses, keynotes, and even a do-it-yourself storytelling training. Please join us next week when we will punctuate the power of the Brand Bewitchery series with none other than a special appearance from our good friend Ann Handley of Marketing Profs. You won't want to miss it. But until then, remember that the most potent story you will ever tell is the story you tell yourself. So make that one epic. Thanks so much for listening.